Thanks Self-Haircut University for sponsoring this video. It's your man Alex, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys the differences between going to barber school versus Self-Haircut University. I've never been to barber school. I don't necessarily know what it's like to be a barber. I'm not a licensed barber at all. Never wanted to be a licensed barber at all. But I can say I've done some research on barbering school, right? I've been cutting my own hair for 14 years, and I decided to do a little bit of research on barbering school because I've been asked the question a lot by you guys, especially in the comment section. What's the difference between Self-Haircut University and just going to barbering school to learn how to cut hair, right? So in this video, I'm gonna explain a few of the different reasons or a few of the differences between barber school and Self-Haircut University and why you would want to go to one over the other. So to start things off, barbering school is, as most of you guys may or may not know, it's extremely expensive depending on the school that you get into. Now again, I've never been to barber school, so I never paid money to go to barber school. So all I know is regular college, which my tuition was like $15,000 a year. So barbering school, I believe you finish within less than a year, and it's roughly $10,000 to $20,000. And knowing that most people have only a savings account of maybe $500 to $1,000, you're gonna have to go into debt in order to go into barber school, which for some of you guys might be okay if you're very ambitious people and you know you're gonna gain a lot of clientele, you're very dedicated to learning the craft and growing your skills. So if you're gonna become one of the best barbers in your area, it shouldn't be a problem to take out debt to go into barbering school. But for most people, going into debt to do something and put in work for that thing is not an ideal situation. $10,000 to $20,000 to go to barbering school to learn a skill that you may or may not even use to cut other people's hair and get paid for it. More so just learn how to cut your own hair, right? Like if you're planning on going to barber school and learning from barbering professors and have them try to teach you how to cut hair so then you can try to replicate your learnings to cut your own hair, it doesn't really make much sense because barbers don't teach people how to cut their own hair. They learn how to cut hair so that other people don't have to cut their own hair. I don't go to barber school to learn how to cut my own hair. I go to barber school so that I can learn how to cut people's hair to then have a fair exchange of you pay me and I give you a nice haircut. So that's one big thing about barbering schools. Now the thing is with Self-Haircut University is that currently the price is $595. And that gives you lifetime access. The big difference between barbering school, right? Do I want to spend $10,000 to $20,000 and possibly, most likely, go into debt to learn how to cut hair? Or do I want to learn from Alex Kouras, the normal day-to-day guy who's nobody incredibly special, but has been learning how to cut his own hair since he was 13, over 14 years now of experience? Do I want to learn how to cut hair from a barbering professor who doesn't cut his own hair? Or do I want to learn from the guy who's been cutting his own hair for 14 years and it's a fraction of the price? So $10,000 to $20,000 or $595, which, you know, the price is always subject to change depending on how many more people we have growing the community. So the price is very different, and you also might have to get into debt by going into barber school. With joining Self-Haircut University, I'm pretty sure most people have $595 or whatever the price is by the time you're watching this. Most people have $500, $600 or so in their bank account to invest in themselves for a skill set that's gonna last for the rest of their life. So for example, you're 20 years old, you've got $600 saved up because you worked this waiter job, and now you've got an extra bit of money that you can invest in yourself to grow your skill set to then potentially save a lot of money years down the road by cutting your own hair, cutting your brother's hair, cutting your father's hair. Maybe in the future you've got children, you can cut their hair. So if you're 20 years old now, you're still gonna know how to cut your own hair or cut hair in general when you're 60. So that's 10, 20, 30, 40 years of knowing the skill set of how to cut hair. So not only on yourself, but also other people like your family, your spouse, your children, your brothers, right? All of these different people you can help save money. And this is another thing that I want to mention really quick. Most barbers, especially in my comment section, they're very aggressive and negative about what I teach and what I talk about on YouTube, right? With self haircuts. And it's very interesting because only the barbers that are scared that I'm gonna take away their clientele for some reason, only the barbers that are scared are the ones that aren't actually skilled enough to retain and get more clientele. Only those barbers that are negative towards me in my comment section, those are the ones that are gonna fail because they're probably just not good enough and their skills aren't good enough and they're not good enough to retain and get new clientele. And then on top of that, no barber is gonna go against their barbering ways. So as a barber, especially one on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, it's inherently going against your ways, your natural barbering ways, to teach people on the internet how to cut their own hair, because you get paid by cutting their hair. So if everyone knows how to cut their own hair, the barbering industry is technically deleted. It's been diminished from the face of the earth. If everybody knew how to cut their own hair, there would be no need for barbers. So it inherently goes against a barber's natural code to not want to teach people how to cut their own hair, which is why I get so much heat from people on the internet, especially barbers. But it's weird because I don't hate on barbers at all. I just think it's a massive waste of time based on my experience. And based on the comments that I get on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, there's hundreds, if not thousands of people that also agree with me, which is why my channel has grown so much. So aside from the money and the little rant, I also want to talk about time investment, right? Barber schools typically require about 1,500 hours of time for you to learn the skills and go through the motions and talk to the professors and have them teach you and do practical hands-on work with the little mannequins and all these things. Time invested to go to barbering school is 1,500 hours. And that could take roughly 8 to 12 months depending on how quickly you can learn. And if you boil 1,500 hours down to a daily mark, right, that's 8 hours a day. Versus the time invested by joining Self-Haircut University, I typically only recommend that on the daily basis, you should be spending roughly 30 minutes every single day to learn how to cut your own hair and just cut hair and learn the techniques in general. Which 30 minutes every single day, let's say it's Monday through Friday, that's only 3 hours a week versus the 40 to 45 hours that you would spend by going to barbering school. Before we continue with the video, I want to thank today's sponsor, Self-Haircut University. The goal of SHU is to help you overcome your self-haircut fears and become an expert self-hair cutter in less than 6 months. Learning this skill set will save you $1,000 to $3,000 per year for the rest of your life. Because we all know barbershops today are getting more and more expensive and taking up too much of our meaningful time. Within 72 hours of joining SHU, I will personally be hosting a coaching call with you directly to discuss a plan of action to get you started on the right track. With over 100,000 followers across all platforms, video testimonials, and 14 years of self-haircut experience, there's no better person with more passion than myself to guide you through this self-haircut journey. To get started before the next price increase, go to selfhaircutuniversity.com or click the first link in the description to start today. Thank you, Self-Haircut University, for sponsoring this video. And so the last thing is basically results, right? After all of these hours and all of these days and weeks and months of learning and studying, what are going to be the results that I'm able to achieve after all of this time invested? So I would assume, based on my experience, based off my students that I currently have, that going to barbering school and going to Self-Haircut University, you're going to wield roughly similar results. Obviously, I would expect the barbering school to be slightly better. There would be a slight edge because you're practicing 8 hours a day instead of for 30 minutes. But ultimately, you're still gonna end up with roughly similar results by the time you finish schooling. Now, what will set you apart from a barber, the difference between you joining Self-Haircut University and you going to barbering school, the second you finish or the second you feel like you've mastered your craft, mastered the skill of cutting your own hair or just cutting hair in general, this is you getting to that point of being a master. What you do from that point on will really set you apart from always giving 80% haircuts to 90% to 100% haircuts, doing all those extra detail works and doing the extra things to make the haircut look really nice and pop and stand out. So that's what barbers are really good at, which is adding that extra detail. And that's why a lot of people go to barbershops, because they take their time, they put in that extra detail to make the haircut look absolutely crisp and perfect. So to circle back and kind of go over everything one more time, time invested is drastically less by joining Self-Haircut University versus going to the barbershop, right? Money invested, right? $10,000 to $20,000 versus $595 for lifetime access. And again, this price could change and go up depending on when you're watching this video. And on top of the $10,000 to $20,000, you're probably gonna be in debt to the barbering school or some type of financial institution and have to pay interest on that $10,000 to $20,000. Whereas $595, you're most likely going to be able to afford that with your savings. And then results, right? Barbering school, you will probably have slightly better results, right? I would say they'd end up being roughly the same, but really, joining Self-Care University, it's just like going to barbering school, right? The more time you put into learning, the more you're going to get out of it. So with that being said, those are the few differences that I've come up with in research within barbering school versus Self-Care University. Obviously, I think Self-Care University is better, especially if you're not trying to be a barber, right? You don't want the license. You don't want to have the profession of cutting people's hair for a living. So with all that being said, I want to say thank you all so much for watching today's video. If you found some value in this video and you like the differences that I made within barbering school and Self-Care University, definitely leave a like and share this video with a friend. Also, I post weekly videos, guys. We're super close to hitting 100,000 subs. I'm really excited to post in that plaque right here for the future videos. But if you guys haven't already, definitely click the subscribe button down below and click on the post notifications as well to never miss any of my new weekly videos. But that's pretty much it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time. Peace!